Good noon, all of you. Hi, Abhilasha. How are you all? A very happy International Yoga Day to all of you. Hi, Sanil. Hello, Anuja. Right. So, I hope all of you did some yoga today or some physical exercise. Yes. Sanil, did you? Hi, Tanvi. Good afternoon. So, I advise you to actually, yes, adopt physical exercise in your daily life. Okay, physical exercise and even meditation, right? Both our physical health and our mental health are extremely important. And I think even if you focus just on your physical fitness, it automatically translates to your being mentally more happy, right? Mentally happier. That's what I should say, right? So do incorporate some amount of physical exercise. It could be anything. In fact, if you do not like yoga, let's say, it could be anything else. Doesn't have to be necessarily yoga, but something for your physical health, for your mental health, right? Arey, wow, that's amazing, Sanil. Okay, I am good, Subhendu. I hope the same for you. I also did some yoga today, right? Otherwise, I have recently started gymming. Before that, I used to do some home workouts, yes, and I try to meditate 3 to 4 times a week. So that is my routine, right? And it does make me happier. That's why I'm suggesting it to you. Okay, so let's begin with today's session. Adjectives and adverbs. So, as part of this ongoing these ongoing sessions that we've been having, we haven't really called it a series, but so far we've talked about articles, we've talked about pronouns, right? Today we are going to talk about adjectives and adverbs. So now the idea is that I am assuming that you know what adjectives are, what adverbs are, right? And I am just making you practice some questions on the concept, right? And why are we doing it? Because questions on the degrees of adjectives, questions on the placement or position of adverbs, modifier errors, these are asked from you in your exam. That is the purpose behind today's session. Okay, so we are going to practice some questions. Some of these are easy, some of these are moderate. Okay, you will not find any of them particularly difficult, but yes, you will learn some concept through each question, right? Why? Because usually, adjectives, adverb questions, once you know the various degrees of adjectives, once you know what is the correct placement of an adverb, the position of adverbs, you generally do not make an error in these questions. Right. So interesting topic. This part of speech, adjectives particularly, I find pretty interesting, right? So let's begin and let's see our very first question. And we will discuss why this question, because it won't even. So here you might feel that this is not even an adjective adverb question, but I'll discuss with you how it is an adjective adverb question. Yes. So what is your answer? I think it's an easy question. Okay. All right. Praveen says C. Abhilasha, Krishna, Kashish C. Tanvi C. Okay. Rishabh also says C. Okay. So how is this an adjective? That's my bigger question. Right. We know that this is grammatically correct because who apostrophe s, who apostrophe s is simply a contraction of who is, or in an informal context, who has. So this cannot be the answer, right? Who is bike you borrowed does not make sense. A, you could have right away rejected. There's a full stop here. This is a question. Eliminated. Then whose bike you borrowed from? Why is this wrong? Can I somehow incorporate from and still write this? Do you know the name of the boy from whom you borrowed a bike? From whom you borrowed a bike, or from whom you borrowed the bike, if I'm familiar with the bike, right? So that would make sense. Do you know the name of the boy from whom you borrowed this bike? Right, so that would make sense. But here, when whose has been used, I do not need this from. Okay, because from always needs, from always needs a noun, or basically it's a preposition. So preposition needs a noun or a pronoun, right? This noun or pronoun is governed by this preposition. It's called the object of the preposition. Object of the preposition. So for instance, from whom. So whom serves as that object there, right? Whom is the pronoun there. From whom, from him, from her. These are all pronouns, right? But here there is no such pronoun. This is an adjective. This, even if you look at just this single word, this is an adjective, not a pronoun here. Yes, can you tell me why is it an adjective? Yes, because see this. Let's say I tell you, I will take a simple sentence. I borrowed Ria's bike. Okay, I borrowed Ria's bike. Or for that matter, I borrowed her bike, if you want to use a pronoun, right? Now, in both these sentences, Ria's and her, what is the job that they are doing? They are doing the job of telling me whose bike it is, isn't it? They are further describing the bike. They are further giving a description of the bike. So this is actually called a possessive adjective here. Possessive adjective. Her bike. Whose bike? Her bike. Possessive adjective. And in the question form, this is again a possessive adjective. Okay, so that is why, first of all, this is an adjective adverb question. But there is more to this. There is more to this. There's a reason I included this question. So, first of all, A we eliminated, B we eliminated, right? Now, C is the one that is left and E is the one that is left. The bike of whom? Is it correct to say I borrowed the bike of her or I borrowed the bike of him? No, that is not a correct way to use an objective pronoun, right? So the bike of whom is also incorrect. So our answer has to be C. No other option possible, and all of you are correct. I think all of you said C only. Now, another question. What about this phrase? Okay, this clause, actually, this is a clause. First of all, do we know the difference between a phrase and a clause? Are we clear about it? Because I tend to use these words. This is a relative clause, right? Are we clear about the terms phrase and clause? See this. So phrase is any group of words that make some sense but not complete sense. And grammatically speaking, this was the general definition, what I just gave you. Grammatically speaking, a phrase is a group of words that does not have a subject and a verb both. It will never have both of these. Because the moment it has both a subject and a verb, it becomes a clause. Right? So here, if you look at this group of words, it has a verb borrowed. And what is the subject of this verb? You. So this is a clause. This is a clause. And if you look at this entire clause, what is, if I just look at this entire clause, now look at it as one chunk, one term as such. Okay, don't look at these as separate words that ye noun hai, ye pronoun hai. Don't look at it like that. Okay, if you look at this entire thing, what is the job? Which role is it playing in this sentence, in this question? What role is it playing? Which part of speech can you categorize it as? Hello, Om. You were correct, Sanil. I just saw your message about describing the ownership of the bike. So, this entire clause is doing the job of describing the boy. It is telling me something more about the boy. It is describing the boy. Okay, and that is why this is an adjective clause. This entire clause will be called an adjective clause. So this is an important lesson for you, that adjectives and adverbs, they are not just one single word. They are not just one single word. No, adjectives and adverbs can be groups of words also. So you can have a one word adjective, you can have an adjective phrase, you can even have an adjective clause. What you just saw was an adjective clause. Okay, clear everybody? Now I can come to the next question. That means, so why I gave you this gyan about adjective phrases and clauses, because in one of the exams, okay, in one of the years, you were not questioned on, let's say, identifying adjective errors. Okay, you were rather questioned on this thing, whether a particular underlying group of words was an adjective phrase or an adjective clause. So we should know about these things: adverb phrase or adverb clause. When we come across it, I'll explain adverb phrase and clause as well. Right? Okay, so let's come to the next question here. And which among the following options can replace the underlined portion of the sentence given below? Okay, so there are job cuts due to the pandemic. She's trying hardly but does not succeed. Okay, let's see what you say. Question 2. Another important lesson here. Okay, see, all right. So, she's trying hardly versus she's trying hard. There is such a big difference between the two things, right? First of all, tell me which part of speech is hard here. Which part of speech is hard? You are right in saying that C is the answer, but which part of speech is hard? It is describing how much she is trying, the degree of her trying. Is trying is a verb, she is trying is a verb. So it is describing the verb. It is an adverb. Hard is not an adjective here. That was the whole purpose of my asking you this question. Hard is functioning as an adverb here. Okay. Don't think that only ly words are adverbs. That's a misconception. Okay. A lot of ly words are adverbs, but not all. First of all, not all ly words are adverbs. And it's not that if it is not an ly word, it cannot be an adverb. Okay. So for instance, look at this word lovely, comely, right? So these have ly, but they are not adverbs. She's a lovely girl, adjective. Okay. She's a comely girl, adjective. Comely means beautiful. So here my point is that not all ly words are adverbs. And secondly, sometimes one word can function both as an adjective as well as an adverb. So here hard is functioning as an adverb. When I say she runs fast, she runs fast. Fast there is not functioning as an adjective. Even though fast is an adjective, it is here functioning as an adverb. Okay. He works hard. That tells me how he works hard. Right? Okay. Anyway, hardly is also an adverb here. Hardly is also an adverb. Okay. Here we had tense errors also. So is not succeed does not make sense at all. Right? The idea was not to say that she's trying hardly. The idea was that because there were a lot of job cuts, she is trying hard. She's trying a lot, but is not succeeding. That's why C. Okay. She tried hard is past, is not succeeding is present continuous. So these two things can't happen together. No. If she tried in the past, that means she did not probably succeed in the past. Or she's trying right now and is not succeeding. So inconsistent. Right. And E eliminated. Okay. Hardly is also an adverb. Comely means beautiful and attractive. Okay. And again, my question, these words hardly, barely, rarely, okay, uh, these are negative words, right? If I say she tries hardly, that means she's not trying at all or she's trying very little. That's the idea. Now, my question to you is, when they come at the beginning of the sentence, when they come at the beginning of the sentence, hardly, she had uh, eaten when uh, it started, when her friend came. Okay, let's make it a simple usual sentence only. Okay, so my question to you is this correct? Is this correct? It's about placement of adverbs. What if I place these adverbs at the beginning of the sentence? These are negative adverbs. Hardly, barely, rarely, no sooner, because it has no in it. No sooner. So anything that has no or not is by default negative, no? Right? So no sooner. My question is, she is, Vicky, that is correct. That construction is correct. What you are saying. She's trying hard but not succeeding is a correct construction. Okay. Very good, Anuja. Inversion has happened. Inversion has happened here. Okay. So, whenever you have these negative words at the beginning of the sentence, an inversion of the subject and verb happens. An inversion of the subject and verb happens. And what that means is that the verb comes first, inverted. Verb comes first, but not the entire verb. But not the entire verb. So, that's also another thing that you need to be careful about, just the first word of the verb. If it's a compound word, then the first word of the verb. So hardly, had. The first word of this verb is had, not eaten. Hardly had, then the subject, and then the remaining verb. Hardly had she eaten when her friend arrived. When her friend came or arrived, whatever you want to write. I hope this is clear to you. When negative words begin a sentence, a subject verb inversion happens where only the first word of the verb comes first and the subject comes later. Right? Okay. Hardly had she. She had hardly eaten is also correct. She had hardly eaten is also correct. Okay. But I was talking about when we place it in the beginning. All right. Perfect then. Good weather today, right? It's raining here today. Uh, let's see this question. Which among the following options can replace the underlined portion of the sentence given below? Good afternoon, Vijay. I live in Jammu. E, all right. B, D, okay. All right. So a lot of B's I've got. One D and one E. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So now tell me something. uh, you must have understood that this question is about the placement of every morning, isn't it? Every morning, every morning, every morning. It is also a bit about punctuation because this one has a comma, right? This sentence has a comma. So first of all, let's begin from the beginning. Uh, When I say every morning, which part of speech is it? Every morning? Which part of speech is every morning? So you should have visited me, Kashish, but then you didn't know. Yes, so Arey bacha, see, what is every morning describing? If I ask you that, is it describing he? He, it's not describing the pronoun, so it's not an adjective, right? Is it describing badminton? No, it is not an adjective. What is it describing? It is describing plays that he, when does he play? Every morning, right? So every morning is an adverb phrase here. Remember, adverbs can also be a group of words. So every morning is an adverb phrase here. Now, this is the most straightforward sentence out there. We all know that this is correct. He plays badminton every morning. No commas whatsoever required. Yes, we all have heard this sentence. So B is definitely correct. But you even had an option A and B, and yes, you also have B and C, right? So if you look at the original sentence and this one, the only difference is that of a comma. The only difference between the original sentence and this is that of a comma. So here comes the concept of what we call fronted adverbials. Fronted adverbials, or you can just call them adverbs, just a fancy way of saying adverbs. So sometimes what happens is, particularly with adverbs of time, okay, we tend to bring them towards the beginning. Okay, so for instance, uh, I met her yesterday. I met her yesterday. Instead of saying that, I can simply say yesterday, comma, I met her. You must have seen both these constructions, isn't it? So when we bring these adverbs to the front, they do require a comma after them. Why? Because in a way, they are setting the scene for the entire sentence. Yesterday, okay, this happened, right? So this in a way, this every morning in a way is modifying this entire sentence. It is modifying this entire sentence. Adverbs can modify not just one word, adverbs can end up modifying the entire sentence also. And it is setting the scene for the entire sentence. So every morning has been taken to the beginning and it does require a comma. So A is correct and B is correct. The original sentence is not correct. The answer is D, Delhi. Some of you realize this. Okay. I hope this makes sense. D, Delhi is the answer. Okay. Clear to everybody? I am proceeding to the next question. This is about fronted adverbs. When you bring some adverb to the beginning, you do need a comma after it, right? But if it is placed towards the end, okay, if it, then this placement does not require any comma. Okay. Now, coming to this question. Acha, one more thing that I wanted to highlight here in this question, after the colon, when we write something, it is not capitalized. Okay, so in these two options, it was capitalized. This is incorrect as per the rules of punctuation. If I write something after a colon, because it is the same sentence that is continuing, it is never capitalized. So A and D were anyway incorrect. Okay, just an additional thing that I wanted to talk about. This was about punctuation. Now, coming to the how to construct it, which so Om, like, is there a particular example that you have in mind that you're facing difficulty in constructing? We do have more examples of this phenomenon in one or two questions. Okay, let's see. To give you one more example of a fronted adverb, I could say at 4 o'clock I will have tea. I will have tea. So, because I brought this at 4 o'clock in the beginning, that's why I put a comma after it. Right? Then if I say, as I know that place, I will go first. So I could have placed this thing at the end also, isn't it? I could have placed this towards the end also. I'll go first as I know the place. Then no comma would be required. But because I have brought it to the beginning, brought this to the beginning, this adverb clause, that is why I'm placing a comma. And it is setting the scene for the entire thing. Okay, it is giving a reason. Why will I go first? Right? And it is modifying the entire sentence as well. I hope now it's crystal clear to everybody because I have given you 2-3 examples now. Okay, and there is going to be a question also later on. A, E, C, B. Okay, I have got so many options for this one. Okay, let's see. I was not expecting this actually. The bride and her mother. The moment I say the bride and her mother, the subject becomes plural, isn't it? The subject becomes plural. So can this be was? No, both were dressed, right? The bride and her mother were. So was A and D should have been eliminated. Okay. Now, were dressed in formal gown and red long wheel. Red long wheel. Yes. Just a second. Red long wheel. Is this the correct order of the adjective? She wore a long red dress or she wore a red long dress? Tell me. So, I should first talk about, the color is talked about later on. The height will be talked about first. Okay. So, this is anyway incorrect. C is anyway incorrect. Now, were dressed in a formal gown and again a red long wheel. That error remains. Also, see, they were dressed in formal gowns and long red wheels. So we will use the plurals here because there were two gowns, of course, and there were two wheels. So they were dressed in formal gowns and long red wheels. B is the answer here. I hope this is clear. Okay. That's okay, Ayush. I hope you attend the recordings, okay? You go through the recordings. If you do that, then it's fine, okay? And yeah, so this is grammar is something that's going to help you for all the non-CAT exams, whichever you are targeting. Okay, so the answer is B. Everyone is clear about it. I am just going to send you a link about the order of adjectives, okay, right after this question. So this is a BBC link, a British Council link, and they beautifully describe that when a sentence has multiple adjectives, then how should you place those adjectives? In what order should you place those adjectives? Okay, so I'm just going to send it to you. Meanwhile, you attempt this next question. Yes, attempt this. Okay, see, I'm getting, okay, I've got, right. Look at this link that I've just sent in the chat box. Okay, a very interesting take. It talks about 8 types of adjectives and how to order them. All right. And trust, and again, if you read the whole link, you'll get to know that adjective order is more a matter of convention. Okay. So, it's that out of respect for the conventions, we are following them, right? It's more a matter of convention rather than just a fixed rule written in stone, right? Okay, A or C. I've got a lot of C's, so let me see what the answer is. Which among the following options can replace okay? Is a most important and longest celebration. So longest. That means my intention. See, the moment I read this sentence, I realized that my intention is to talk in the superlatives, right? So first of all, this is absolutely wrong. Longest should need, I mean, longest needs the before it. There is no the present in this sentence before these, before any of these adjectives. So anyway, this is incorrect. Okay, now even this is incorrect. So A and E very comfortably rejected. Coming to these three. So here it's a much important. Actually, much does not require important does not require much, because important by itself means something that is of much significance, okay, or consequence. That is the definition of important. So we use much when we want to say, when we want to use it in the comparative sense, much more important. Okay, much more important. There, yes, I use much because the idea is to, in a way, informally, I can put it like this. This is way more important, or this is far more important. That is the job of much there, far more important. So, however, much important is actually redundancy, because important means of much significance or consequence. So simple. The answer was C. It is the most important and the longest celebration in the Hindu calendar. And if you see, these two are parallel to each other. Superlative, superlative. The most important and the longest celebration in the Hindu calendar. Okay, can't see the link. Is it? Okay. Maybe there are some settings which actually it will not appear as a link. It will just, you'll have to copy and paste. See, I've just sent it again. Can you see something? Just copy paste this. Copy paste this. It will not appear as a URL or something. Can you see it? If not, I'll tell you the title of the web page. You can visit it yourself. All right. I hope this is clear to everybody. This question is clear. The intention was to use the superlative, right? Okay. No, it's not visible. Okay. So so it's a British Council. Just type right now only. Just type adjective order British Council. Just type this. The first link that appears is your link. Okay. Adjective order British Council. That is what I did. That is how I got the link. Okay. So coming to our next question. So I hope you've been enjoying the session so far. Yes. And you got to know some new things at least today. Yes. Particularly the fact that adverbs, adjectives, they can be phrases, they can be clauses. A new thing about fronted adverbs, how to use negative adverbs in the beginning, right? And yeah, primarily these things, right? This was our very first question. Now, coming to our next question set. Acha, yes, let me do that. So the title is adjective order. You can just Google this right away, adjective order British Council. You will get this. Okay. And I'll write the link also. Okay. In a while, I'll write the link also when you attempt a particular question so that it doesn't waste extra time. So let's come to the next question. I think so far the concepts that we have learned are enough for answering this, and I expect all of you to answer this correctly. So let's see what you say. Five options here. Five options. So I hope the link is now visible to you. I have copy pasted it on my slide. This is the link. Yep. I hope it is visible to everybody. All right. So B, I've got a lot of B's. I've also got some E's. Shaveen, what was the doubt? It's okay. You can ask. Ah, he says unexpectedly, by the morning flight, the CEO flew to Mumbai. So do I need to break the sentence into so many parts? Unexpectedly, by the morning flight. So here, what is unexpected? What is it that happened unexpectedly? If you place it before by the morning flight, it appears as if it's modifying by the morning flight rather than the fact of flying unexpectedly, isn't it? So this is a very basic rule that you have to remember. An adjective or adverb, an adjective or adverb. In fact, when we talk about modifiers, what are modifiers? Modifiers are also adjectives or adverbs only, right? Just that they tend to be phrases and clauses. So a modifier should be placed as near as possible, as near as possible to the word or phrase that it modifies. Right, or it could be a sentence also, whatever it modifies. So you have to place it as near as possible. Now here you are creating an unnecessary distance between unexpectedly and flew. In fact, the to somebody who's not very well versed with logic, with meaning, that this person can get confused. What is it that happened unexpectedly? Is unexpectedly modifying by the morning flight? If not, why is there a distance, right? So E is not a good grammatical construction. Okay. So yesterday the CEO unexpectedly flew. Now it is clear what is it that happened unexpectedly. Yesterday, comma, the CEO unexpectedly flew to Mumbai by the morning flight. Okay, so B is the most appropriate construction here. Now, he comes from an intellectual family. You come from a family, Praveen. Okay, so B is the answer. I hope this is clear. Any other sentence in which you had a query? So all of this happened yesterday. So yesterday is modifying the entire thing to the entire thing. So that's why A cannot be the answer. All of this, what I just told you, happened yesterday, right? Okay. Then here the CEO yesterday unexpectedly flew. Why these unnecessary commas? No comma required here. Eliminated. It was by the yesterday morning flight the CEO flew to Mumbai. What? There's a tomorrow also here. No, these absolutely illogical. Okay. All right. So B is the answer here. I hope this is clear and you will remember this rule. Another rule that I want you to remember is the MPT rule, the manner, place, time rule. I think I have covered this with you earlier as well. Manner, place, time. When we have multiple adverbs in a sentence, we place them in this order. Okay. So to give you an example, if I say, I ran, yes, I may have given this very example itself. I ran in CP fast yesterday. So it could be any place in the market. Let's make it in the market. Okay, to make it more general. I ran in the market fast yesterday. You immediately realize that something is wrong with this sentence, isn't it? So you feel that fast should be placed first. Yes, I ran fast. Why? Because the manner is what comes first. Okay, so I ran fast. Then can I place yesterday? I ran fast yesterday in the market. This also appears awkward. I ran fast yesterday in the market. You feel that yesterday should come towards the end, right? So you intuitively know this rule. The rule is manner first, place next, okay, and then the time, okay, time at the very end. I ran fast in the market yesterday. Okay, he comes off an intellectual family. What is the source of this question, Praveen? Spot the error here. Yes, spot the error and you can tell me the source. So I've got B. Okay. What else? Okay. B. All right. See, when I talk about a particular line, no. So, for instance, if I talk about, let's say, some business tycoon, okay, and I name the tycoon. So, for instance, Ambani's, for instance. So, she comes off the Ambani's. That makes sense because I'm naming now. It's a particular ancestry. But intellectual family is general, right? It's not naming. So, in my opinion, this should be comes from an intellectual family. Comes off the Ambanis, yes. When you come from a very particular ancestry and I'm naming it, then yes, you use comes off. Okay. So that's my opinion on it. B, D, B, all right. Art is most intense mode of individualism that the world has known. What is wrong with D? That the world has known. So I think you are thinking that the should not come here. Yes? Is that why you've marked D? But see, a lot of times the is placed when we want to emphasize something, when we want to stress something, when we want to stress the uniqueness of something. So here I can say the world, right? Because I'm trying to say that, okay, I'm trying to just emphasize it, just stress its uniqueness. So the world is okay, no error there. Here a superlative was required because art is most intense mode of individualism that the world has known. So I'm clearly comparing here. Comparison is happening among multiple modes of individualism, right? And that's why I need the superlative, the most intense, right? So clearly B is the answer. So whenever you are confused about this, whether you should place the before most or not, just think of the intention. Is the intention to compare among multiple things and state that this is the best, the fastest, the biggest, the slowest? If yes, then of course the is required. Just like Diwali, the Diwali question, right? Diwali is the longest, the most important, right? So the intention, whenever it is to compare, the is required. All right, then let's see the next one. Again, you have to spot the error. Let's see what you say. Okay. E, all right. No error. Okay. A. Okay. What else? Amrit says D. Okay. So now there's another thing that we need to learn here. There is a proper possessive adjective here, right? What do I mean by that? A proper noun acting as a possessive adjective here. So Darjeeling tea is one of India's. We can't say one of the India's, is one of the India's. So here you are placing the before India, right? It is one of the India's most sought. No, either we say one of the most sought after drinks in India or of India, one of the most sought after drinks of India. Either I phrase it like this, then yes, the is fine here. One of the most sought after drinks of India, right? Or I say one of the country's most sought after drinks. Again, now the noun here no longer remains plural. One of the most sought after drinks, one of the country's most sought after, right? So here the is fine, but the moment it becomes a proper noun, no, then we do not put the. Then we do not put the. So this is correct. Darjeeling tea is one of India's most sought after drinks, but is this is the error here. Entirely almost exported or almost entirely? Almost is the one that is modifying entirely and should be placed before it. Almost entirely. It almost is not modifying exported, it is modifying entirely. Okay, so a placement error as far as almost is concerned. This is an adverb here. The error was in the placement of the adverb. Okay, D Delhi. I hope this makes sense. So please read the entire sentence. Don't make a decision just based on a couple of options. Okay, entirely almost was a glaring error. Okay, and even if let's say in the exam this were a new concept for me and let's say I were confused about it, I would still go for D because D is a glaring error. It's a very obvious error, right? That's how you attempt grammar questions when you're relatively unsure. Okay, a very easy concept. I am sure all of you will answer this correctly. Yes, this is the second last question for the day. I want all of you to respond. Okay, it's fine from my end. If it's buffering, please check your connection. All right, A, C. Okay, very good. Correct, Amrit. Elder to and older than. That was the concept that was being tested here. Okay, we either say elder to or older than. One more difference between elder to and older than. So there are a number of differences. One is this. Secondly, elder can be used only for your siblings. Elder can be used for your siblings. Right? For family, we use elder. Here, when I say Rishu, elder, first of all, than is incorrect. Elder to Pinku has been awarded. If I use elder to, that's based on the assumption that Rishu and Pinku are family. Rishu and Pinku belong to the same family. Right? So that is also something that to be considered, that elder is used for your family, for your siblings. Okay. Another thing is that while elder to can be used for people only, older can be used for people and things both. For people and things both. For living and non-living things both. Right? So three differences. Elder to, older than. Elder to for family, whereas older than can be used for people outside your family. While this is confined just to people, this can be used for both people and things. Okay. So for instance, this fossil is older than that fossil. Okay. More older, this is a double comparative. Please never use double comparatives. There is nothing like this is more better than the other option. A very common error that I see people making. Absolutely incorrect. Okay. More older, incorrect. Okay, the ER in older is enough. You don't need more. Older than Pinku has been awarded. More old, no. Whenever you have the ER and EST form of comparison, when you have these older and oldest, why would you say more old and most old? The most old. Okay, if you don't have these ER, EST forms, then you use more and most. So, eliminated and of course, eliminated. Okay, so C is the answer. I hope this is clear to everybody. Yes, Shriyans. I hope this has answered your question. Yes, Vicky, correct, correct. E is not the answer. More older, double comparative. Now, coming to the last question for the day, you have to again spot the error here. You have to spot the error. Yeah, so it is a certain lineage, no, a particular lineage. It has to be a very particular ancestry. That was my point also, Praveen. So intellectual family is not, I would not call it such a specific ancestry. I'm just trying to say uski family intellectual hai. You know, I'm not saying that he comes from, let's say, the again, you can name a particular family, the Rockefellers. Okay, so if I say that, then we use of. B, C, all right. So I've got more C's than B's. The houses in the capital city can hardly compare with, this is actually a comparison question. Okay. When we are comparing houses, it's actually a pronoun error. To be honest, this is a pronoun question, not really an adjective question, right? So the houses in the capital city can hardly compare with, you will compare them with the houses of the neighboring cities, right? Houses, plural. So it should be those. Those. Can be hardly compared is also fine. When I say something hardly compares with another thing, that also has the same meaning, Sanil. Okay. That if you say that, their decor hardly compares with that of the palace. So that does not mean the decor is doing the comparison. The decor is comparing. That is not the intention. It is again used to mean can be hardly compared. Okay. So with those of the neighboring cities in design and interiors, C is the error here. It's actually it was a miscellaneous question, and this error is actually a pronoun error, right? Instead of that, I needed to use those because houses, we'll compare houses to houses only, not to one house. Clear to everyone? All right then. What is the error in B? There is no error in B. So I was just telling you. So one of you said that it can be hardly compared. I was saying that both are correct here. I can write this also. It can be hardly compared and it can hardly compare is also fine. When I use this construction, that does not mean that the capital city is doing the comparison. It simply means that the two things don't have a match, right? Don't have a comparison. Basically, you can't compare the two. That's what I mean. Okay. I hope I'm putting it correctly the third time. Right? Does it make sense? All right, then C is the answer, and I hope all the questions that we've done so far are clear to you. If not, please ask me. Okay, if you have any query, ask me. We have time, never worry about that. Okay, and I hope you enjoyed the session. You learned some new things. We went into the depth of adjectives and adverbs today. We talked about we talked about their phrases, their clauses, about some modifier rules, right? About the placement of adverbs. We talked about fronted adverbials, negative adverbs, etc. Right? And also the order of adjectives. I expect that all of you will go and open that link, right? So I will see you. Yes, so hardly compares is right. Yes, 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 it is correct. Okay. I will see you now tomorrow at 12. Yes, I'll see you tomorrow at 12. And yes, you know about these toppers of ours. This is our current program. In case you wish to enroll, then I think please don't delay, because you do need approximately 6 months to prepare for CAT. In case you are a fresher, in case you haven't taken CAT earlier, right? And yes, this is how we can stay connected with each other. You can join this group. All of us faculty members are present there. If you have queries, you can ask them there. Okay. All right, then. I'll see you. Bye. Welcome. Welcome, all of you. Next session is tomorrow at 12. Okay. Bye.